Welcome everyone to Discover This, and welcome back. Well, today we're going to do a little bit of history on the Buffalo Soldiers, and we're going to go visit the Buffalo Soldiers Museum on Fort Huachuca, the base, and we're going to go down to Camp Naco and see where they were patrolling the border along the United States and Mexico, and just do a whole lot of Buffalo Soldiers history today. So come along for the ride.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So just to give you a shot of where Naco is, it's right above Naco, Mexico, right on the border. And here's an aerial shot from Google of what the camp looks like. And we're going to go take a little walk around and show you what it looks like today. So we're here in Naco, Arizona, and this is Camp Naco. And the history here in Naco, Arizona includes the Mexican-American War, Buffalo Soldiers, and a major siege in the town of Naco, the Mexican town of Naco. Oh yeah, they also found some mammoth bones down here. But we're at Camp Naco. It's one of 35 camps that were built along the 1,200 miles of the Mexican-American border during the Mexican Revolution. Camp Naco is the only one of these camps that's still standing. Now, after the Civil War, specifically in 1866, Congress designated the 179,000 African-American troops in the Union Army to be put into the 9th and 10th Cavalry Regiment and the 24th and 25th Infantry Regiments, and they became known as the Buffalo Soldiers. The name believed to have been bestowed upon them by Native Americans with whom the African-American soldiers were fighting in the western frontier. For their entire existence, the 9th and 10th Cavalry and the 25th Infantry were assigned to Fort Huachuca, which had been built in 1877 in response to conflicts in this region with the Chiricahua Apache tribe, the tribe that included the famous Native American Geronimo. Now, this was the hospital at Camp Naco. But soldiers, including Buffalo Soldiers, had been assigned to Naco, Arizona since 1910. This was a tent camp originally, and they were living in tents. And one of the things the Buffalo Soldiers got involved in was chasing Pancho Villa in 1916, including chasing him inside Mexico, which I'll show you where the Mexico border is here in relation to this in just a few minutes. In 1919, plans were formed for the construction of Camp Naco, and it was to consist of 35 adobe buildings on 17 acres. Starting in 1919, the Buffalo Soldiers were assigned to Camp Naco from Fort Huachuca, which is about 35 miles away. As part of being assigned to Fort Huachuca, Buffalo Soldiers were rotated to Camp Naco, which, again, right here at the Mexican border. And this was to ensure that violence from the Mexican Revolution did not come across the border into the United States. Their duties primarily focused on patrolling the border, protecting the railroads, and to prevent the smuggling of cattle and arms and supplies into Mexico. Now, Camp Naco now is owned by the city of Bisbee, Arizona, which is way off there in the distance. Way out there, if you can see that. But they've got some grant money to rehab these buildings and make it into more of a museum and kind of a destination place for people to come and learn about the history down here. But you can see some of the original adobe brick buildings here. And then these would have been some of the newer construction in later years. But very nice that they're going to be fixing this place up and leaving this bit of history for others to come and check out. So across the street from Camp Naco, you have the officers' quarters, or what's left of them, and these will be part of the restoration process also. And these ones here are were for the white officers. But as you can see, somewhat in disrepair. And then you got these here, and then there's two more right over here, again in basically complete disrepair. Will be part of the restoration process at some point. And then, just for perspective, you can see the rest of the camp. It's over here on this side. So now let's take a break from Camp Naco and head up to Fort Huachuca, the Army base. And that's where the Buffalo Soldiers Museum is. Now, you can actually get on the base. The public can go on the base, but there's a process you got to go through. So basically what you need to do is you go through up to the main gate, which is off of Hatfield Road and Highway 90. And you go up Hatfield Road and you'll find a parking lot for the Visitor Center. And that's where you need to pull in to park in the Visitor Center. And then you go inside and you show them your ID, and they do like a little brief background check on you. And assuming that goes well, then they print you out a pass and you get back in your car, you go through the main gate, and the guard scans your pass, and then you're set to go. Now, the museum is actually way inside the base, as you can see here. So you have to do a little bit of driving to get there, but there's plenty of parking once you get there. And there's signage all along the way, so you're not going to get lost. And once we got there, they were doing some major construction outside of the museum. So that's why I'm not filming the outside. There's really nothing to see. It was all scaffolding and construction fences. So anyway, we're going to start our tour from when we walked in the door and play a little background music for you. So now Camp Naco was closed in December of 1923, and it sat here for more than a few years. And from 1935 to 1937, the camp was used by the Civilian Conservation Corps, which was a federal works project all across the United States that fought forest fires, strung telephone lines. They built roads, planted trees, among other projects. And again, the people that are here were kind enough to let us just wander around for a few minutes anyway. But not sure if you can even see anything in there, really. But the building that I showed you earlier, that was the originally the hospital building, eventually that's going to be the museum for Camp Naco once they get again get everything rehabbed and fixed up enough to allow the public to come in and appreciate and learn about some of this history. So these were the non-commissioned officers' buildings right here. And again, complete state of disrepair, but again, eventually getting worked on to get fixed up. But take a look at how much room was on the inside. So, as you can see, not a whole lot of room. Enough for the time, I guess. But, each one of these is about the same size, same layout and all that business. So if you can imagine, the temperature down here would get upwards of about 100 degrees in the summer. Those guys wearing, some of them at certain points in time, they changed their uniforms, but at certain points in time they would wear canvas uniforms, and in certain points in time they were wearing wool uniforms. So it's could be a bit uncomfortable, I would say. Again, you can see this whole valley out here, you know, and again, Fort Huachuca about 35 miles away from here, so they would have been traveling on horseback to get down here. So it would have taken a little bit of a trip. So thank you again to the people that were here. They were here doing some cleanup and whatnot, and they were actually meeting another group that was here doing some photography on the property. But they let us come in and walk around a little bit, and we appreciate that. I had to fill out a little bit of paperwork, but you can see from this website here that you can follow along and check out the progress as things are being rehabbed and updated, and construction is starting and whatnot. So I would get on that and check it out. And if you have an opportunity to come down here and check out Camp Naco. Well, that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this story about the Buffalo Soldiers and their history along the southwest border, specifically in Arizona. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly learned a lot on researching this and doing these little trips here. So I thank you for watching. Appreciate you taking the time. And we will see you on the next Discover This.